never ceases to amaze me how works of art can make us ask philosophical questions. What is the meaning of life? Can suffering have purpose? Or the ship of Theseus paradox? If every plank of a ship is replaced until none of the original remains, is that ship still the same ship? That's a question I found myself asking after having watched Nolan's Odyssey. But let's bring it back a little bit. Christopher Nolan hardly needs an introduction. Fresh off his almost billion-dollar success of Oppenheimer, he returns with his maybe most ambitious project of his career, a $250 million budget adaptation of Homer's The Odyssey, filmed entirely with IMAX cameras. So, what happened with Nolan's Odyssey? First, the pros. It's almost a given that when you have Nolan directing a film, you have Hoyte van Hoytema, sorry for the pronunciation, as his cinematographer. It's a dangerous duo, and the images that come from those brains working in tandem is something else. And The Odyssey is no different. This film is visually stunning. The beautiful lighting and camera work mixed with the production design make a visual piece that's easy to love. It really has the coveted cinematic look. Some of the acting was also fantastic, with Robert Pattinson and John Leguizamo giving stellar performances, and Jon Bernthal doing what Jon Bernthal does best, being Jon Bernthal. Digging a little deeper, the themes of hospitality and regret were portrayed in the film, and are interesting choices, and can make for a very compelling through line for a narrative. And that's about it. Those are my pros for Nolan's Odyssey. And I call it Nolan's Odyssey for the same reason a lot of critics call it that, because of the cons. Yes, of course, you have the controversial castings that the whole world has talked about ad nauseum, and yes, they do somewhat take you out of the story, but beyond that, it almost gets worse. Now, I've said before that I don't like most of the casting choices for this film. Having seen it now, I double down, with the exception of Agamemnon, whose face you can't even see. I think I'm justified now in my previous statements having said that they should have casted no-name actors to play the roles in this film to give this story the room it needs to flourish. Other grievances of the film, which I fully agree with, are the dialogue and dialect of the film, using modern American accents and verbiage, which doesn't even fit in all modern films. You also have the radical changing of Odysseus' character from the strong, proud, and cunning, yet charming warrior he is in the book, to the self-conscious, PTSD-ridden pushover he is in the movie. And that's another crazy thing, that Odysseus' PTSD and regret form the themes of the film. Now, I said before that those themes can make a great through line for a film, but that's if the rest of the film is working together to create a cohesive story, and this one doesn't. The themes they used replaced the themes of fate and free will and justice from the book, which guided the whole plot of the original story. Those themes help the reader understand why all the different things happen to Odysseus and his crew throughout the story, and they all culminate in the climax when he makes it back to his long sought after Ithaca, his wife Penelope, and their son Telemachus, and destroy the suitors. It's a major change from the source material, which was aided and abetted by the almost complete removal of the gods of the story, showing their presence only through natural elements like wind and water. Even Athena, who played a fairly major role in the books, helping Odysseus get back to Ithaca, campaigning on his behalf to the other gods, helping him destroy the suitors, was reduced to mere scowls. But the thing that pushed this film over the cliff into the abyss, where middle-of-the-road films go to have their final rest, was the insane choice to try to cram the whole of the Odyssey into a single film, under 3 hours long. I've heard people say it felt rushed and slow at the same time. People told me they walked out of the cinema because it was boring them. Honestly, the reactions of this film have been some of the most fun to look at, but also some of the saddest. I wanted to love this film so bad. I wanted Nolan to succeed beyond what any film director has ever accomplished. But also, I love the Odyssey story, and I want to see it brought to life on the big screen in a way which honors the original source material, but also brings the spectacle that a Nolan film can. But if you take something like The Odyssey and change so many parts of it which are crucial to the continuity of the story, when does it stop being the story you set out with in the first place? As with any film, there will be people who love it and people who hate it. For me, this is another middle-of-the-road film, on par with Nolan's Tenet. Anyways, that's all I've got for this review. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Nolan's Odyssey, and if you think it will surpass Oppenheimer in the box office. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with someone who's seen Nolan's Odyssey, subscribe for more film-related content, and I will see you next week.